walls, we've studied the experts and perfected the art of appearing straight and tall. Clean up the out, protect what's in, and there's no doubt we'll be seen as clean as we claim we've been. Our freshly painted faces haven't left any traces nor indication of the viral infection laying claim to our souls. We push back on any pushes and pulls so long we don't even know how long we've been going at it alone. We've taken every stone thrown our way to reinforce the barriers and keep potential invaders at bay. Let's be honest, none of us wants to drown in the depths of each other's pain, so let's just keep things shallow for each other so the waters of this life can't wash us away. Thanks. All right, cool.
Finally got it right.
Yeah, I was hoping for a boo because I don't believe in that. The rest of this is from my new album, and in large part, my new album is really an apology. Sometimes, us writers write from a place of being hurt. A lot of my writing is from a place of having hurt others. Yeah, just the fact that when we are the church, when we're locking arms with each other, opening up to each other, we open ourselves up to the possibility of hurting each other and of being hurt. And this is kind of just like wrestling with that dynamic. This first one is from a little bit of a different perspective. It's called Hell's Prodigal. Oh, lift up your hands and raise your voice with shouts of praise. Another prodigal's come home. You all should have known we'd again see his face when his church showed him condemnation instead of our enemy's grace. When he confessed, I performed a slight tilt in his brother's thinking and nurtured the guilt until it became too much for him to bear. He'll never go back to people who don't really care about what he's really going through. They don't have a clue what's going on in his life, about his failing business and his unfaithful wife, because they never really took the time to listen. And I have a lot of faith in our system. We can cause them to think about anything we want them to, completely blind them from what our enemy wants them to do. Sometimes it's almost too easy. Just got to lay on the guilt and convince the offender he's destroyed the testimony he's built. Just keep his eyes on himself and off the enemy's face. There's no chance at all he'll experience grace. Oh, another prodigal's come home. He's come home to hell because we were ready and waiting for him right when he fell. We've snatched him from the only one he knows to be real, so let's come together and keep him here by keeping him focused on the pain he feels. Really, in writing and being honest with myself, it's not like Josh Mosick sucks, but it's more a matter of, really wanting to point to the goodness of God the Father and His love. This next one is, it was addressed towards a particular person that did a pretty crappy job of loving through a rough time. We were sheep of the same pen. You called me brother and I called you friend. We are committed to ensure your stay would never end, that you forever remain connected to our shepherd, our master. But the enemy enticed you away much faster than what he tried with me. I believe because he saw what you could be and what you do to his cause. He concealed his deadly claws, so all you could see were his soft, innocent paws, and he snatched you away. Before you could discern the shepherd's voice, the enemy was ready and poised to take you out. And I believe without a doubt, when he thought about the shepherd's plans for you, he was freaking out. We were sheep of the same pen, but you couldn't defend yourself against the enemy. So suddenly we were one sheep down, but none of us took the time to look around and see that you were missing. By the time I noticed, it was too late, and I didn't think reasoning with you to come back would be a worthwhile debate. Though maybe reluctantly, you chose to leave with him consciously. And who am I to get in the way of your decision? But the shepherd left the rest of us safe in the pen to go on a mission to bring you back, because he notices and does something every time the enemy attacks. I heard that when he called out your name and you cried out his, the enemy stopped holding you captive and evaporated into mist. And the shepherd carried you back safely to the pen. But we did nothing to welcome you, brother, and you wandered off again. When once again we didn't notice, I'm sure you questioned our every motive from the very start. I know the shepherd's still tugging on your heart, but it tears me up inside knowing that we didn't play our part in loving you. You're still a lost sheep, and on nights like this I reflect and weep that we didn't help you be who you could have been. Forgive me, brother, for not loving you like a true friend. like my friend Calvin says, some people mean well, but they mean well horribly. I think a lot of the ways that I've hurt people has not necessarily been actively being a jerk, but has a lot of time been inactivity. A lot of what Josh talked about at church this morning really hit home. So there have been a couple people in particular that I just recognized that, in my mind, I'm like, well, I didn't contribute to them being hurt, but in all reality, it was just my inaction in standing up for them and being kind of like, their ambassador when they were going through a rough time that did a lot of damage. Just one quick story. Had a friend who was in youth ministry with me, and he didn't agree with what the youth pastor said, so he actually went up on stage right after the sermon and kind of contradicted the guy, which was probably not the smartest idea. But we kind of called him out in a meeting, and me and a couple other people, we weren't the people that were saying you're dead wrong, but when he was basically being shamed, we were just yeah, you're wrong, and we're right, and we felt good about that. One of my friends, after the fact, he was just man, I don't think we handled that right. I don't think that was really reflecting the heart of Jesus, to shame him in that way. So I just didn't approach that guy for a long time. Years and years later, maybe 10 years later, I brought that up. I was just yeah, it's just been weighing on me the way that we treated that situation. And he said that was the effing worst day of my life. That just ate at him in a way that he beat himself up over, because no one actually came alongside him and walked through that with him. So to me, it was kind of a seemingly small thing, but it was something that really affected him. So this next one is just about that whole thing about meaning well poorly. Disconnect. The severe severing. Amputate. We can't weather you withering away from us. You left us in shallow seas to wade and the deep to fade away. But we swam out to you, simply all we could do. Neck deep and barely afloat, you shoved us away till the water saturated your throat and you nearly stopped moving. We couldn't bear the thought of losing you, so we pulled you to the shore and you planned your return to the deep once more. All of our planks provided more than sufficient timber to craft a seafaring vessel, vainly bent on safe passage. All of our begging and pleading fell on deaf ears, and the damage our uncouth words brought will no doubt haunt us for years. We thought we could stop you and keep you ashore, but your mind was made up and you climbed aboard. Your solo voyage was doomed from the start, and I ignorantly tried to get that through to your heart as if it's something I'm even capable of. Maybe things would have been different had I spoken out of love. I can't imagine your fear when the waves crashed heavily and danger lurked on every side. The ship you built to sail the safe harbor capsized and left you drowning in the depths of your regret. I never could have imagined the effects, but effortlessly, his pierced hands brought you back when you looked upon the rightful captain's face. The whole time we thought we were helping you, we kept you from drowning in his grace. So, I think a lot about all right, so what do I do with the self-reflection when I'm being honest with myself about the ways that I've been a screw-up? And I think really what it comes down to is the heart of Jesus is not to shame us and make us feel like trash. There's a passage in the Bible that says God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble. And I think when we come to him with a humble heart, not just saying, oh, what I did was no big deal, but the true heart of repentance, saying, yeah, I screwed up, I've hurt people, and I want to make that right with them, and I don't want to continue down that road. I think that we're met with a surprising amount of grace and restoration. And sometimes you gotta swallow the bullet and take the consequences of our actions. But this will be my last one. It's just about that kind of dynamic of not beating myself up, but at the same time recognizing where I fall short. Last night I had a dream, a terrible dream. Or was it a nightmare? a beautiful nightmare. The me that I am stood toe-to-toe with the me that I'm meant to be. I had no visual recognition, just an odd familiarity that I was an extension of a shared soul. But the one before me was whole and complete, lacking nothing but the emptiness rushing in and through me. Eyes an alluring fire, and a voice beckoning desire to emulate his every move. Qualities I alone cannot improve upon, leapt from within with the possibility of unforeseen change. Things I'd tried to rearrange for years screamed with hope for tomorrow. There was a sorrow in his eyes, and without saying a word, there was no question why. It's like a father who sees who his son could be, but weeps at the realization that he might forever settle to be a fragment of what he was meant to be. Sorrow, but fused with compassion. It's a beautiful marriage of unwavering virtue and unconditional grace, breeding empathy on everything its eyes behold. It's a kind of love that penetrates to the deep, dark depths of soul, makes even the skeptic suppose that he might be made whole. I immersed myself in the radiance of his face and found myself shattered to pieces by soul-piercing grace till all fear released its hold on me, and I awoke, tranquil and free. Last night I stood toe-to-toe with you, Jesus. I know I'm meant to live like you, and I really want to be done settling as this poor reflection of you. All right, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate it.